Hello, everybody. My name is Christian. I'm the host of the Disruptive Chef Entrepreneur Show. And I know you guys going to love today's guest because as I started talking about him, and you guys know about our ethical stocking, we need to come up with a better name. But as I kind of followed some of the things he said, I said, I really connect with this guy. And you guys going to realize during this conversation, everybody needs an Aaron. And you guys going to meet him right after this. Hello again, my name is Christian. I'm the host of the Disruptive Chef Entrepreneur Show. Thanks for being here today. And I know you guys going to love today's guest. But before we get into it, make sure you comment on this episode below. What did you connect with? What do you think Aaron is going to say? And we also going to play if he's up for a rapid fire question food service edition. So we're going to find out how much he really knows about food. But if you haven't done so, also click the notification bell so you are going to be notified of every new episode coming in. So with that, today's guest. Full transparency, you guys know we started about a year ago where we said we need to have new guests. And I always wanted to bring somebody who I absolutely adore, who does something absolutely amazing, and somebody who can drive your business forward. Today's guest, he is in sales, and we're going to have a conversation around that. He talks a lot about his fractional sales agency. So we're going to ask him what that actually is. He's a really good sales leader. Not only that, he is an advocate for what he does. And he approaches things, hey, we need to do this much simpler, which I absolutely love about him because things are too complicated as it is. And then he also talks about a fractional approach. I know you guys going to absolutely love him because I fell in love with him over the last few weeks where we ethically stocked him. And I'm really excited to bring you Aaron. Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Christian. Great to be here.
So before we start, help our audience to learn a little bit about you. Where are you calling in from? And listen, you're a really good looking guy. Okay. Why are you doing sales? You could do so many other different things. How did this whole thing start?
Yeah. So I'm in Temecula, California, Southern California. It's Southern California wine country. So there's definitely like a tie to food here. I've been doing CPG sales for 20 years now. I was selling real estate right before the big crash of '08. And my dad had done it. So it was kind of like the family business. I did it for a couple years. It just wasn't my bag. So I had a friend that was selling bottled water. He was a manager. He needed somebody to run a territory. I needed a salary. And I thought it was just going to be a temporary thing. 20 years later, here I am.
I love that. And I hope you're going to talk about some of the other stuff, how your interaction was with working with your parents, starting your own thing and so on. Because for me, every time you talk about this, I juggle because like my dad says, hey, somebody got to take over the family business and you need to be in hospitality. I was like, I don't want to be in hospitality because I seen how hard the work was. And we owned a hotel. My parents owned a hotel at the time. And I have 5 brothers, 5 sisters, and none of them is left in the industry besides me. And I always seen how hard it was. I also seen, we were a seasonal business. We opened up the first week in September and we closed the last day of May. And I also learned over Christmas, I can ask for anything. My birthday is right around Christmas. So I can ask for anything. My dad would say yes. If I ask for it in August 1st, I will get a hard no. So I seen the strains it put on the business and the strain it put on the family. So for me, what I admire about you, and I want you to talk a little bit more how it was for you to grow up in a family business and starting something totally new. But for me, that really connected me to you because every time you speak, I was like, I went through this and it's not easy. And it's not easy to tell your parents no, and they're going to go in a different direction. So, but how did it work for working for your parents? And then also, When did you know that you were meant to do something totally different?
Yeah. So either lucky enough or unlucky, my dad, he never really pushed me into getting into real estate. He came from Iran in the 60s. He had done a few different things. He was an engineer for a bit, which I think is maybe like a rite of passage for Iranians, just based on the number that have done it. But he got into real estate, and he was super successful. So I was out of college. I was looking at opportunities in sales. It was an area I liked, and I was working at Nordstrom's at the time. So I was kind of, already into that customer service side of sales. And the opportunity for me to go and get my license happened. I got it with Coldwell Banker. They had a great training program. The first year I was like rookie of the office for the year. And he was always just very much a leader and teacher of go and do it and learn how to do it. This is what I did. Here are the things you can do, but you're not going to learn and you're not going to grow unless you go out and do it. So I did it. And I think the challenge for me in real estate was I was too much of a people pleaser. And when you take those, like, I think if you were to put me in a box, you wouldn't put me as a salesperson. When I take those characteristic tests and things like that to see where your strengths and weaknesses are, typically I come out as weak on the sales side of things because I'm a people pleaser. And so real estate, where you kind of have to like remove yourself out of the process, it didn't work for me. I was always trying to like please the person rather than just being super objective with the process and like get them what they needed. So I did it for a couple of years. Didn't really like it a lot. Found this opportunity to get out of that. My dad was super supportive, no matter what we did. He was just really happy and proud of us. Could have done anything. So I was blessed in that sense. The first job I had in CPG was for a lifelong friend, my brother's best friend. So we had grown up together. I loved it. It was just fun. Like, the sales cycle was very different than real estate. You could work your clients at that level were store managers. So I had versus, one or two clients in real estate, I had 20, 30 clients, so to speak. And it was just much less pressure. I was young at the time too. So when I was practicing real estate, I was in a really established market. So it was a lot of old people. And then in their eyes, I was like a kid. And so that was a challenging hurdle to overcome. In the CPG space, I fit right in. It was very slow sell, low pressure. You can't shove anything down somebody's throat in CPG, which is something I've learned over the years. So I enjoyed it and just kind of kept growing, and I was lucky enough to have a manager earlier on that would help me grow and kind of backfill. Every time he grew, he would grow me to backfill his position. So it was great.
I love that. So when our listeners dive in a little bit deeper on your message and when you talk, I hear a lot about when you talk about, you said, hey, I think startups have it wrong because they all feel that they have to have a full-time salesperson. They never really thought about a fractional salesperson. I love that because I agree with you 100%. And a lot of people feel I need to sacrifice somewhere else to have that full-time person. And then it's hard to fulfill if somebody is really good and you're a startup. It's tough to kind of follow that up. So talk to us a little bit where that mindset came from, and because that really shaped you to create your own agency. So talk to us how this all came together.
Yeah. It really came out of experience. Like it's hard to say. And it's one of those things where I was living that, right? So I was a director of sales for these companies that were either pre-revenue, still doing research and development, trying to figure out where their product fit, how do you go to market and all these things, which at that point, there's a lot of work to do. So I don't think when I look back at my career that I was never earning my money, but sometimes I really had to fight and try to figure out a way to earn that money.
Yeah.
And it's a very much ebb and flow sales cycle. So number one, you have review calendars for most of the big players in the industry. Most of the big retailers, they're looking at your product once a year. So you got to, do some prepare for it. You do your meeting, you sit, you wait, you find out if you got the business or not. If you did, you sit and wait again until the PO's cut. Then you sit and wait again until it gets on shelf. So that whole time, if you're a startup, number one, you can't go to all the retailers across the country because you can't afford to. Secondly, then you start weeding out where your product really fits in, and it's probably not every retailer in the country. So your funnel is kind of grooming itself to get to a place where you only have a limited amount of retailers you're going to go after in year one. And to pay somebody full time to manage that business and go after that business and then manage promotions just doesn't make sense. And so when I was on that side of the desk, as I continued to move forward and do it for a while, I was realizing like there's a value for these people to just kind of take a step back and hire somebody that's fractional, that has a lot of experience, versus paying somebody that's green because they can't afford the experienced person. And I think it's a win-win situation for everybody.
I love that, because a lot of people, especially if new companies coming into the US market, distribution is really hard. Okay, that you know that better than anybody. Distribution is really hard, and if you spread yourself too thin, you're just trying to fulfill and you never really grow. I absolutely love that. What I love about you when you talk about cold calling, and for me, I absolutely love that about you, because for a lot of people, cold calling, I'd rather have an appointment than cold calling, because cold calling is not easy. You get a lot of no's. So talk to me a little bit about it, because you always talk about that there's no company which is too big for cold calling. Where did that come from? And how do you work up that mustard, for lack of better words, to do it? Because it's not easy getting 20, 30 no's a day.
Yeah. It came out of necessity. So I was a full-time director for a brand, and we were growing. So the guy who started the product was not from CPG background.
Yep.
I was coming from a very green level of being a director, and before that, I was a regional manager. So some of the national accounts I had no experience working with. We also didn't have money to bring on a broker that had those relationships.
Yep.
So the only way it was going to happen is if I reached out and figured it out myself.
Yeah.
And so that's where it came from, was really just having to do it. And at the end of the day, if you can sell to somebody that owns one store and is operating that store themselves, you can sell to somebody that's operating 1,000 stores across the country. It's about knowing your product. It's about knowing that your product is something unique that they should be carrying. And it's about, being a good basic person that is going to follow through with what they say, and knowing that you can do that before you have that conversation.
I love that. You make it sound so easy. It's not easy to picking up the phone and calling, making calls. But you also talk about doing your learn about the company. You also talk about, hey, don't have one presentations, because the CEO's thing for a XYZ product, his vision is a lot different than a salesperson's versus the guy actually doing it. So where did that philosophy come from? And talk to our audience a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So I think when it comes to a conversation, you have to be planned, but organic at the same time. And so that goes not only for the conversation, but what information, what literature are you going to present? Because that's part of your conversation, right? It's part of the story you're telling, and everybody's different. If I'm going to present a product to Whole Foods that is very natural, really concerned about the ingredients they have, their consumer is not as price sensitive as, let's say, Kroger or Albertsons, that's nationwide. their shopper is really trained to look at that yellow tag and shop what's on sale. They're not as concerned with ingredients. They really want to see what kind of sales data you have, what proof of concept you have. Those are two very different conversations. One is going to be really interested why this product exists. What solution does it bring to the consumer? Are you thoughtful about society? Are you thoughtful about the earth when you've created this product? And the other one is like, what are the margins? How are you going to support turns off shelf? And I don't think one is wrong or different. They're just different approaches because they have different customers coming in and shopping. It's just about like.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I want to dive in a little bit deeper what you said earlier. You talked about Whole Foods, and you talked even in the beginning of the conversation around sales cycles are so different, and a Whole Foods, they know exactly what they want to have on the shelf when, because they did their due diligence, they have their research done. So if somebody is in your field, what was a learning from you? It's maybe a twofold question. What is a learning you had early on in this process? Because it's not easy to sell to a Whole Foods. Sometimes it's easier to sell to a mom and pop than a Whole Foods. Yeah. And then the second thing is, where did you realize that, hey, if I go after Whole Foods, the sales cycle is they buy twice a year, or they're looking at product a few times a year, or there's some other companies out there. Like I just talked to a good friend of mine. He said, "Oh, I'm showing company a product which is not going to hit the market the fall of next year." And then for me, it just blows my mind because, I'm in food. And I was like, why would you do a product that far in advance? But if you have 300 stores, from the moment you manufacture it till it goes through where it needs to be distributed and it hits the market, it's a long time. So talk to us a little bit. Where did that philosophy come from? And maybe you have a story or two which kind of shaped you who you are today.
The philosophy of like, when do you talk to them? So, I mean, you made a great point with that guy that has a product that's not going to even be in the market until fall. So the original opportunity I had to work with Whole Foods at a director level was with a functional snack brand that we had. And I had sent some samples to the local store, the local region, I should say, because Whole Foods, while they work globally, they also work regionally, or they used to. Things are changing. The bigger these companies get, the more they go to like a centralized purchasing model. But I had sent some samples out because I had a contact there that I had worked with in a kind of a different responsibility role, and she liked the product. So she reached back out to me to let me know that they were having a founders pitch slam. So this was kind of a reverse engineered invitation to present the product to them with a few other select brands, and that they were going to have a panel of Whole Foods buyers along with some other industry experts that had brands. GT's kombucha was there, which was like the first kombucha that ever hit the shelves nationally. So that's what we did. We kind of I wasn't even there. We sent the founder out. Like I don't have enough ego to have to be the one to close a deal. Like if I can tee you up and you can go close it, and you're the founder and you know why you made the product, you're going to speak on it way better than I ever can. So we sent him there, and we won that pitch slam.
Love that.
Fast forward 5 years until we got global expansion. Wow. And it ended up being a different product line. So it was the same brand, different product line, because in Whole Foods, to be fair to them, they don't want to kill your brand. And they know how expensive it is to succeed and really be able to promote 500 doors across the country, distribution, all of those things that come into play. So it was a really like systematic approach to growing with them. And in hindsight, I think it's really valuable for brands to think about that.
I love that. Again, Aaron, you make it sound so simple. And sales is not an easy thing. I always tell people, if you're not selling, you're being sold. Okay. So I think sales is a great skill to have. So I'm curious, during this whole process, when did you realize that a fractional sales model is really your way to get your foot in the door with a company? And when did you realize that this is my niche and I can build a business around that?
Yeah. So it started, it actually started, when I think about it, way back in probably like 2016. 2016 was when I really first thought about it, because I was exiting a startup.
Yep.
And the natural space in CPG, the reality of it is that you typically will change companies every 2 to 5 years for either the reason of, if you want to continue to grow and your boss isn't leaving, you got to go somewhere else to have that bigger responsibility. And the other more dangerous side of it is that it's a really hard industry. So, as a restaurateur, how challenging it is for a restaurant to be successful and kind of past that 2-year mark. It's the same with CPG and building a brand. It's very expensive, and not every brand, unfortunately, makes it.
Yeah.
So I was in this place where I was changing jobs more than I wanted to. And so I said, you know what, maybe I'll just be a broker. I'll pick up a few brands and represent them in Southern California. I know store managers. I can kind of go do that thing. So I had a conversation with the brand. We hit it off. He liked me. He's like, the only thing is, I want you just working for me. I don't want you representing other brands.
Yeah.
I had a young family at the time. I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, I need the cash. Let's do it. So that actually led me to a great relationship and an opportunity to learn a lot as a director. So I'm very thankful that it didn't happen the way I wanted it to.
Yeah.
Fast forward, exiting that company, I had to move from full-time to kind of a consultant for that company, due to one of the things I talked about was just financial reasons. So I said, all right, I gotta start an LLC. I don't want to be a broker. I realized that wasn't for me. Brokers are great, but they're different than a fractional director. And so I started fraction sales at the end of 2022. It was kind of my side hustle for a few years. I took another full-time job. I had one brand, which was that brand that I had kind of wanted me to go to consultation level. In 2023, I hired a lady that I used to work with to be kind of the face of fraction. She was really good at what she did, but what she wasn't good at was marketing herself and marketing the company. So while I was working at this last full-time job, I just realized, like, it kept growing on me. Like, this is something that the industry needs, and it's something that I want to do. And how do I take this full-time? So at the end of 2024, same thing happened. Company ran out of money. They gave me enough of an exit bank to have a few months to try this thing.
Yep.
The girl that was running the fraction for me, or the face of fraction, decided to take a full-time job. So it was either I go and get another full-time job and kind of keep this as a dream, or I take the leap of faith. And so I took the leap of faith at the beginning of this year. I got very vocal on LinkedIn. I started doing more and more research about fractional roles and the fractional industry, which goes across all industries. It's not just CPG. And it's not just sales. There's operations, finance, marketing. Like, it's a huge thing. And interestingly enough, like, the growth of it, I looked and did some research. I think in 2022, there was, I'm not sure what the number was, 200 or some odd people that had a fractional title on LinkedIn. And it grew by like 5,400% in like 3 years. And now there's thousands of people with that title. So, I mean, there is a true And that only ever comes with supply and demand.
Yeah, I love that, because if you do some research on it, it's actually crazy on how many people are fractional. I love the idea.
Yeah.
Full transparency, my CEO is fractional. You
Yeah.
know, and he's awesome, and I totally connect with that. You also said something. You had a young family, and you needed to have a different outlook. One of the things you always talk about, that having that balance between life and work is really hard.
Mhm.
Life is more important than any job you hold.
Yeah.
So where did that come from, and how do you manage that in your current position?
Well, I think the balance came from a comment my dad made years and years ago, and then just my experiences through life. My dad said, if your kids don't care if you all live in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Mhm.
What they care about is knowing that their parents are there and that their parents love them, and that's it. Like, they
Mhm.
don't care about things. They don't care if they're in a mansion or not. And that always stuck with me. And I've been blessed not to have to live in a 1-bedroom apartment with my
Yeah.
family, but as I've grown and I've kind of looked at like people that have much and people that don't, like, there's no difference in their joy or the way they experience life. And so I just wasn't like, I'm not driven by money. I like it. You know what I mean? I like nice things, but that's not the number one driver. And I've said this before also, like, I don't want my funeral to be people talking about my career.
Wow.
Like, I don't live to work. I work to live. And so that was another reason that I actually wanted to own my own company, because when I work, I'm focused, and I work for my brand, and life doesn't always happen outside of 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So if I need to take some time off during the day and work some hours at night, I think, I'm adult, and I should be able to manage myself well enough to make that happen.
I absolutely love what you just said, and I want the listeners just to go back 3 minutes. Not just you. By the way, your whole expression changed when you talked about how important family is, and I hear you talking about this all the time. And for me, there's one thing which is really important, and I have 3 adopted children, and we adopted them because we really wanted to have them. Not only do we have adopted children, they all have special needs, and we in and out of hospitals all the time. But for me, I like what he said. Even if you live in a 1-bedroom apartment, for me, when I come home, I leave work here at the office. When I go home, I do not work at home. I don't take phone calls, nothing personal, because that's my time with my family. And then when they go to bed, I might do some work. But for me, I've been really lucky that my wife feels the same way about it. But for me, when you said it, I get goosebumps thinking about it, because I think that's why I admire you so much, because that's exactly how I feel. At the end of the day, if you peel it all away, family is the only thing that matters. And for me, I love when you talk about it. I even seeing your total facial expression, everything changed. And for me, I think that's your gift. I honestly believe that. And that's why you will attract people which are attracted to that. Because it's hard to be attracted to something else if the guy which coming to you is doing that. I really need to say, this is absolutely amazing. My head is off.
Thanks, man.
That's a really awesome philosophy, because you could get lost in something else, and I really admire that about you. So I'm curious, now you have that fractional thing, you had all of this experience, your dad was really good in what he does, no pressure, okay, you gotta work a little harder, but dad was really good in what he does. So I'm curious, what is Mr. Aaron Younessi working on, Aaron, and what are you focusing on your business for the next 6 months or a year or so?
Yeah. Thanks. I'm focusing on getting 5 really good brands that are either pre-revenue up to
Mhm.
about 5 million in sales, and helping them fire me. I want all my brands to succeed, to get to the point where it makes sense to have a full-time sales director or VP of sales. And that, in my experience, is somewhere around that 5 million mark. I think it's going to, obviously depends on what your price point is, et cetera. But typically around there, you have enough revenue coming in. That 5 million mark is a challenge to get past. So if you can have a route to market and a sales strategy that's going to get you past it, then I think it makes sense to hire somebody full time. So I want to help brands get there.
That's awesome.
The reason I like the startup space is because I'm working directly with people that have like this passion project, and they, I'm not just like a cog in a wheel at Coke or Pepsi that's like, hey, we want you to grow by like 2% this year. And that just is so boring to me. Like, I love those like 1,000% growth stories. That may be going from 100 doors to 1,000 doors. That's fine. Like, you have to grow strategically, and you got to enjoy what you're doing. And I think working with founders it's something I enjoy a lot. So I'm hoping I can bring these win-win situations and relationships to people. I hope I can be genuinely myself. I had talked about when I first started Fraction, that feeling of like imposter syndrome kind of vanished. Because when you're representing a brand full time, your livelihood is on the line. And I think there's just something that, for me anyway, I always felt like I had to kind of watch, what was I saying? How was I being? And now it's like, if this is me, if you want to work with me, fantastic. Hopefully there's enough proof of concept in the way I'm describing things that's going to show you that I know what I'm doing. And if I'm not the guy for you, I'm not the guy for you. So that's it. It's about having fun. It's sales may not be easy, but we're selling food and beverage. Like, we should enjoy what we're doing.
Yeah, I love that.
It's just, we're bringing something that hopefully we enjoy to people so that they can enjoy it.
No, I absolutely love that. And again, to our listeners, go back a few minutes. So what he just said is really not just a life lesson. That's the way you need to look at everything. And by the way, I'm in the same space as you are. I love startups because I love the guys because they will work 24/7. They are available all the time. It's so different talking to a startup guy than somebody who got the job because he has the experience. Okay. Right. Love it. So I totally understand where you're coming from. So, but before we wrap up, I want to be respectful of your time. I wanted to ask, are you up for playing something called Rapid Fire Question, Food Service Edition? But before we do, how can people get a hold of you? Can you talk to us a little bit if people want to learn more about Aaron, if they want to know more about Fractional, because there might be some business people here which say, you know what, I never thought about going into Fractional. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can email me at Aaron, AARON, at fractionsales.com, FR-action. I'm not a marketer, so I'm sure I could come up with a more creative name, but I didn't.
We need to work on that. We need to work on that. And then also, by the way, you guys need to hit him up on LinkedIn, because I want to say you've been awesome on LinkedIn. You respond to people. You've been really, really awesome on LinkedIn. And so for me, if there's anything, listeners, don't go to his website. Hit him up on LinkedIn. He's absolutely available on LinkedIn. So with that, Aaron, are you ready to play Rapid Fire Question, Food Service Edition? The whole conversation was very good. So now this is the make or break session. Okay. Are you up for it? Playing Rapid Fire Question, Food Service Edition.
Let's do it.
Okay. So it's about 5 questions. We want to know what makes you tick. So with that, Aaron, give me a number between 1 and 25.
Let's go 14.
14. Ooh. Yeah. If it's not spicy enough to make you sweat, is it even worth eating? Yes or no? And why?
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, the older I get, the more cautious I got to be with spice. Although my son just turned 12. Yeah. And we did a Hot Ones challenge with the chicken wings.
Oof.
For his birthday. It was a lot of fun.
So my kids make fun of me. Full transparency, heat is not my friend. Okay.
Yeah.
I had chicken wings that my daughter made chicken wings. I had one, my lips, I couldn't breathe. I was like, how do you eat that? It's just absolutely amazing. Okay. Give me a number between 1 and 25.
1.
1. Ooh. Is it okay to serve a cocktail in a cereal bowl just to mess with people? Yes or no, and why?
If it's just to mess with people, absolutely. Yeah.
That is so messed up. I mean, it's just wrong. Okay, I agree with you though. Spot on. Okay, give me a number between 1 and 25.
7.
7. Would you cook while wearing pajamas just to find out if it makes the food taste better? Yes and no, and why? I'm not sure why we have those questions in there, but why?
I would definitely cook wearing pajamas, and I have cooked wearing pajamas. What was the second part of that question?
So, but why? Why does it make the food taste better?
Oh, does it make the food? Because if you're not cooking with love, then it doesn't matter. And if I'm feeling the love in my pajamas, you're gonna taste it.
Yeah, you lost me after pajamas, but the thing I know where you're going with that. Good save. Okay, give me a number between 1 and 25.
25.
25. Should restaurants start offering breakup meals on the menu just to make you cry or laugh, or maybe both at the same time? Yes or no, and why?
I would definitely order a breakup meal, whether I was breaking up. Maybe it's where my brands can take me when it's time to exit from fraction sales.
I'm not saying anything. Okay, last number. Give me a number between 1 and 25.
Let's go with 12.
12. Have you ever accidentally started a small fire in the kitchen while you were cooking? Yes or no? And why?
I did this yesterday. The parchment paper caught on fire in the oven with the broiler.
That is awesome. And that completes Rapid Fire Question Food Service Edition. I really appreciate you being as available as you are. Thanks for being honest on the rapid fire questions. We absolutely love that. And to our listeners, if you haven't done so, please write on the comments below what did you absolutely like on some of the answers he had. Also, how did he do on the rapid fire questions? So give him a number between 1 and 25. But Aaron, before we leave here, what was the best piece of advice you have ever gotten?
The best piece of advice I had ever gotten was to take care of your health, mental health, and physical health, and the rest will come.
Mm-hmm. I love that, because that's so true. Because if that becomes your whole life, if you don't have your health, you have nothing. And I absolutely love that. So with that, Aaron, I want to say thanks for being here today. Thanks for the gift of your time. Thanks for talking to us about fractional ownership. And for me, I absolutely love what I do. And to our listeners, if you haven't done so, make sure you guys run to LinkedIn, send Aaron a note saying, hey, I just seen you on Christian's podcast. I really love this about you. And until next time, remember to disrupt your kitchen, fire up your career, and stay hungry for change. I'm Christian. I'm here with Aaron, and we are out of here. So be the change, be the challenge, and be the chef who sets the world on fire. So with that, Aaron, I want to say thanks for being here today. Thanks for the gift of your time. I love what you do. Keep doing what you do and do more of it. And we need to kind of see each other on. So with that, thanks everybody. And to all listeners, go out there, be like Aaron, and be disruptive, everybody. I see you at the next episode. Thanks, everybody.